Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome in Dynasty Football Live. Back at you here. We're coming with you today with our post draft 2023 Dynasty Football tight end top five rankings with a couple of sleepers in there for you guys. I love this tight end class, dude. I think that there's some talent here. If you can get one of these guys, you need to draft them, especially if you're tight end needy. These cats here are going to come in and put the league on notice. I love this draft class. Manny, as always, my name is Byron. My co-host Manny. We're going to get you going here with our top five post-draft Dynasty Football tight end rankings. Who you got here, Manny, at the 1-1?
Well, this might surprise you. It actually surprised me a little bit just based on our our first round mock draft. I'm gonna go. No, I can't do it. All right, never mind. I'm gonna go with Dalton Kincaid. I think, obviously first round talent, first round pick. Even though Dawson Knox is still there, I think, they got him in the first round for a reason. Josh Allen was kind of pounding the table for him. Yeah. And that says a lot. And also, I think it's kind of interesting, especially the tight end position. Definitely happened with the receivers for sure. But I think landing spots and draft capital, I think was a little bit different than what people expected. For most of the offseason process, we had Michael Mayer as the number one tight end. Late in the game, Kincaid kind of came on strong, and even Darnell Washington for a while was, getting a lot of heat. And then we know what happened there. We'll talk about that later. But, yeah, Dalton Kincaid, number one.
Like it a lot. I don't see any other way that this could be going. I loved Kincaid coming in. I wish he would have went to the Bengals. That didn't happen. Obviously, as a Joe Burrow owner, I wanted to see them get a superstar there at a tight end. I thought it was a need, and they did not. So, with the second overall tight end on our top five ranking here. This could easily be a hashtag. This could be same guy, whoever you like more. For me, I'm going with the pedigree. For me, I'm going with the landing spot. For me, I'm going with Sam Laporta here. A lot of people like Michael Mayer over him. I'm gonna stick with the Iowa. The Iowa pedigree has not been missing in the NFL. It seems like these guys come in from that school and they just piss tight ends over there, man. So for me, Sam Laporta is going to come in and be my number two tight end, especially in that offense, man. Look what they're building down there up there in Detroit. So I like it. I like that offense. Oh my gosh, it's going to be a fun one to watch. That's for sure. When Jameson Williams comes back from that suspension. Sorry, I don't mean to be mentioning that. I know it's a soft spot for you right now, but we'll get past these issues with this gambling stuff, man. They got to stop doing that. That's just a dumb thing to get a suspension for. So.
I agree.
Sam Laporta here, guys.
That was who I was debating to have as my number one. Even though I did pick him in our in our first round mock draft, I picked Kincaid in the first round. But yeah. I think Laporta is a great pick. He's super athletic, super fast. He's just and he's going to a great situation, just like this guy. And I think of all the tight ends, even though he wasn't picked number one and he's not here number one in our rankings, I think the safest tight end, meaning maybe not necessarily the highest ceiling, but definitely the highest floor, is Michael Mayer. You know what you're going to get with him. He's basically, in my mind, his comp would be Jason Witten. He's not fast. He doesn't seem that athletic, but at the end of the day, he gets open, he catches the ball, and he catches with his hands, which is extremely important as a receiver or even running back, tight end, anyone catching the ball. So for me, the safest pick at tight end, maybe not the highest ceiling or the biggest upside, but the safest pick is Michael Mayer.
Awesome. Yeah, I liked him. You know, he was my number one guy, and then the landing spots happened, and you know, I quickly jumped ship on the Michael Mayer train. I still look like you, man. I think he's going to do great things in the NFL. I think, you know, the Las Vegas Raiders got an absolute stud there at tight end. So glad to see him replace Waller with a guy like that. So he's going to come in and probably start right away. Guys, number 4 here on the list for me is a Green Bay Packer. We're going with Luke Musgrove here. Surprised me, man. I thought they were going to get your boy Washington. You know, you were pounding the table for him. Did not happen. However, I think this guy is going to come in and turn some heads. I like the guy. I think, like you said, he's got a little bit of that Darren Waller in him. He's got he can go up and get it. He's a very long tight end. Very very shifty for his size, man. So love to see them take this guy, Musgrove, man. So for me, love. You got your guy at tight end. They did draft 2. Maybe we'll get into him later. But for now, this guy's landing number 4 on our top 5.
Yeah, and I think it's a great selection. I think one of the things that these guys from, I think definitely for sure, obviously with draft capital that we saw with Kincaid, all these guys in the top 4 are most likely day one starters. I know a lot of times, I don't know if you agree with that, but I think in my mind I see that these teams need tight ends. They don't have a veteran presence there at either of those teams. As far as a true like number 1 tight end, not like like for example the Packers have Aguara. He's not a starting tight end in my opinion. I'm sorry. In this league, I think he's a complimentary guy, which is why, and also they drafted another tight end, which you kind of mentioned there too. So for me, all these guys have the ability to produce right away. Hopefully, maybe this will be the year where we have, I know, the year that Pitt got drafted was, he produced like no other rookie tight end has produced. Maybe this is a year we have more than one, or even, obviously that's not the norm, but this class is definitely elite. For me, with the last guy, this may surprise you. I mean, he was kind of a top recruit coming out of college. Let me see if I can. Might be easier if I do this here. No. Oh. I forgot a letter here. Yeah. I'm going to get Luke Shoemaker at my number 5. Might be a little surprising, but I think, Dallas definitely needs a tight end. They lost Schultz to the Texans. Not a lot of draft capital. This guy was very productive at Michigan. He was one of the top tight ends coming out of high school. And I think just like all these other guys, obviously, they all went in different spots in the draft. So obviously draft capital matters. But I think all of these guys have a chance to start or at least produce right away. And Shoemaker for me is one of those guys. So he's my number 5 for me.
Hard to debate with you on that with his draft capital attached to him. He is a second rounder. However, this tight end room is very, very stacked with young talent. And there are 2 other guys, I think, still in front of him. One being Jake Ferguson, and the other one being Peyton Hendershot. I think it's going to be a very, very good tight end room. I think that all 3 of these guys are going to be able to come in and battle for that position. I actually own Jake Ferguson, and I was kind of shocked he did take a tight end. I didn't end up drafting Jake Ferguson last year. I got him off of waivers, which is fine. But was kind of hoping to have my backup tight end there. Didn't happen, and looks like I'm just rolling with one. Which leads me to our first sleeper, which I obviously own the other tight end that this guy got drafted to. Darnell Washington is my first sleeper. Hard to really debate on what this guy brings to the table. He's a massive, massive human being, and I'm very, very excited he went to the Steelers. Even me, obviously, owning Baby Gronk, aka, I think we all know who the tight end there is in Pittsburgh. It was kind of a head scratcher to me, but Mike Tomlin likes to take best available players, and I think he got a very good one here in Washington. Washington. Pat Fryermuth is still the entrenched tight end there, but I do like them to bring in Washington on double tight end sets. They'll be able to put him as an inline blocker, possibly a sneaky goal line target. Guy could end up with 7 touchdowns this year. Who knows? He's a very, very big target for picking. So don't be scared to take Washington, man. This guy could end up coming in and setting the league on fire too, just because of his pure size. You got anything here on Darnell Washington?
No, I think at the end of the day, it's just great value. I mean, this guy was supposed to be at one point, in the first round, maybe second round. Apparently, there was an issue with his knee that scared a lot of teams off. And at some point, you're gonna have to take a chance on a guy that keeps falling, and you're like, man, the talent is too much not to take a chance at this point. I think that's what the Steelers did, and I think one of the most important things, which you did mention, was the impact that he's going to have in the running game. Obviously, we know we've seen glimpses of the passing upside or the catching upside. Definitely a red zone mismatch, or so maybe he'll be kind of a vulture here. Hopefully, maybe not for you. Hopefully, for your sake, that's not the case. But I think he's going to have a huge impact on Najee Harris in the running game. So for a team that needed to be better running the ball, they addressed the tackle in the first round, and they got a guy who could have been a first rounder, second rounder later in the draft. So for me, that's definitely very sneaky pick here. For me, as my sort of sleeper here, is going to be Kraft. I think for me, thinking about the Packers situation at tight end, Tucker Kraft is drafted after Musgrave, obviously, and one of the things that was an issue for me with Musgrave, which I mean, obviously talent, he dominated at the Senior Bowl, but is his injury history. They take him early in the second round. Obviously, that room is not very. The tight end room is not very deep. I think right now they only had, before the draft, they had one tight end in their tight end room. So I can easily see Tucker Kraft being a guy who comes in and contributes right away, and really give Musgrave a tough fight as far as to who the starter is. And even if he loses, Luke is not able to stay healthy, which is, one of the most important things about being a starter. You have to be healthy. Kraft can come in there and take the spot, and I think they're both super, super athletic. And it's kind of a coin flip. I know the Packers picked Musgrave earlier in the draft, but I think it's a coin flip as far as who's going to be the guy. We saw that with the Ravens drafting, who was it, Hurst and Andrews in the same draft, and obviously the guy drafted a little bit later is the guy who ends up being a perennial Pro Bowler. So we'll see what happens here, but I think Kraft is a sneaky sleeper here, even though he has a guy who was drafted earlier in the draft.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I'm glad you ended it there with another Green Bay Packers So
I
let's
finally got to pick a Packer, dude, or
go.
either a Tennessee Volunteer or a Packer you didn't pick. So.
I've been sniping you, man. I'm sorry about that. I was just as pumped up as you about it though. So
Yeah.
here we go, guys. I'm gonna give you guys to end this video off. I know that we've given you our sleepers. I'm gonna give you three to keep your eye on. What's gonna be Jacksonville Jaguars taking Brenton Strange at number
Hmm.
61 overall. He is a Penn State tight end. He has a very, very good pedigree there coming out into college with the tight end tree. Another one is going to be the New York Jets taking Zach Kuntz. Another could come up and steal the show there. You know, never know with Rodgers being there in town. And last but not least, we're going to go with Will Mallory, University of Miami tight end. He went to the Indianapolis Colts. So those are three to keep an eye on. They're on waivers, and you're, tight end meeting. Stash those guys, man. You never know. Like a lot of people didn't know who Kittle was. A lot of people got that guy off waivers back in the day, and they ain't all for you now. That's for sure. So, you got anything else for us here, Manny, before we sign off?
I think another guy you need to keep an eye on is Davis Allen, that got drafted by the Rams. I think he's a very sneaky athlete. I think he was one of the top tight ends coming out of high school, going to Clemson. He was kind of drafted later in the draft, but I mean, I think the Rams, even though they have, I think they may have a need for a tight end. Maybe he kind of sneaks in there. Let's see how he performs in the preseason and in training camp and all that stuff. But I think Davis Allen is kind of a sneaky pick there later in the draft or even the waiver, depending on if what your need is. But anyways, that's what we have for today.
Hey, thank you guys for joining us on our top 10, or top 5, sorry. Threw in a top 10 there. Again, we surprise you guys a little bit more than you need to know. Sometimes we just like to do it both here at Dynasty Football Live. Let us know how you did. Leave some comments down. Keep rolling with this, baby. As always, Dynasty Football out.